All right, so we are back for Week 12 picks. Before we get into that, I just wanted to say that originally tomorrow I was going to do a birthday stream, and I was going to stream Baltimore and the Steelers. But today, Baltimore ended up shutting down. They had too many COVID cases. And so that game is pushed back to Sunday at, I think it's like a 1:15 it starts or something like that. Really odd time to start a game, but it is what it is. So I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. The problem with doing the Washington and Dallas game is that that's basically going to be around dinner time. So I'm going to start the stream, probably get like into the second quarter, and then it's like, time to eat dinner and whatnot. So it's like, I can't really do that one because I'm going to miss, half the game eating turkey. And then I don't really want to stream Houston and Detroit. Yes, Detroit is a tradition. Seeing them on Thanksgiving is like a big tradition. It's been happening. I think something said like since the 30s or 40s. Somewhere around World War II is when they start putting Detroit on Thanksgiving. But I've known it for it's been for a while. But to think that it's all the way back to around the World War II era is just insane. But it makes sense because they feel like a tradition to be on Thanksgiving. But I mean, I just don't really want to watch Houston and Detroit, go at it. Basically two draft pick teams. Who's gonna get a higher draft pick, basically. So I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow. Sucks because, again, that it would have been perfect time for me. I could just came down here, sat down here, watched football, already would have eaten and all the, everything else on Thanksgiving. And it was just, going to become time to chill. Now I don't know what I'm going to do. I was thinking about even if the Badgers basketball, which actually starts today. So they don't play tomorrow. So, I don't know exactly. I don't know what I'm going to do for that because there's, no local basketball team. I support, again, football. Well, I'll watch really any football. I don't really watch, a lot of basketball. I'm not like too big into that unless it's like the finals. Or, I'll watch the Bucks here and there every once in a while. But I'll figure out something to do for tomorrow. So to get into the picks, though, I'm gonna speed run this kind of. Houston heads to Detroit tomorrow on Thanksgiving Day, as I stated before. First of supposed to be 3 games, but it is now 2. And Houston is gonna win this. They're just better overall on paper, even though both teams suck. Detroit got blown out 20-0 by the Panthers with their backup PJ Walker, who I will talk about more when we get to Carolina and Minnesota. But I have supported PJ Walker since the XFL. I didn't really stream XFL games, but I have made some videos on that talking about that. So I mean, just I'm a big supporter of PJ Walker. So the fact that he dismantled the Lions and then he put up, I guess the defense didn't allow any points either. But I just don't see Detroit coming out and winning this. They have a lot of problems to fix. Next, second game on Thanksgiving Day, Washington heads to Dallas. Now, this game will put someone in the NFC least in first place. Right now, there's a 3-way tie for first place. Giants are a game behind, so I mean, if the Giants, won this week, that get them closer. Obviously, they wouldn't be in first because again, they're a game behind. But like to think that someone with 4 wins is leading the NFC East is insane. But that will happen. So, whoever wins this, you're in first place. Unless Philly somehow miraculously upsets Seattle next Monday. Unless that happens, which I don't think it's gonna. But if that somehow happens, then you're back in second place. Again, I had a little interest in streaming this, but again, it's hard because it's going to be right around turkey time. So next, heading to Sunday games. Miami heads to the Jets. Tua was it like a Monday or a Tuesday, the week before the week before they played the Broncos, came out and said the NFL was easier than he expected, and it's not that difficult to do, and that fueled. I think that fueled Denver to make him worry, and he ended up getting benched. He got hurt and he got benched. I believe it's Brian Flores, I believe his name is, came out and said, no, it wasn't an injury. It was, he didn't play well and he got benched. So basically, Tua goes from saying something like, oh, this is really easy, to getting benched. Ryan Fitzpatrick, whatever. Ryan Fitzmagic went out there, tried to help him back in. They lost. They had a game losing drive, basically. They didn't score. It got picked off in the end zone, I believe. So that ended their tying the game up against Denver. But obviously it has been stated that Tua is going to start. It is the Jets. So I mean, if he somehow loses to the Jets. That's going to be embarrassing for Miami. That's going to be really embarrassing for Miami if he somehow loses to those Jets, who, by the way, are eliminated officially as of today. Basically, they are eliminated from the playoffs because they have 10 losses. So there's that. That's going to hurt even more. The only team eliminated. Next, Arizona heads to New England. I have not looked at the weather, but I mean, knowing Bill Belichick, if it's like a rainy game, he's going to come up with some way to play in the rain and win in the rain. He finds a way to win. I mean, he beat the Ravens. I mean, they're still gunning for that second spot in the AFC East. They still have a chance to make the playoffs and whatnot. So I do think they are going to lose to Arizona, but Arizona is inconsistent some of these times. Sometimes they look good, sometimes they don't. I mean, they lost to the Lions earlier this year. Did they lose? Oh, they haven't played the Rams yet. Never mind. I don't think they have. And then, they obviously split with Seattle. They obviously beat the Bills. But, they just are inconsistent, and half the time they barely beat the Bills. Let me go backtrack to that. It was DeAndre Hopkins saved them. So they almost lost to the Bills, but DeAndre Hopkins saved them. But they're it's just you never know what you're gonna get. But I think this team is enough to beat New England. Did they lose? I don't remember if New England lost last week or not. I don't remember who they played. I don't know. Or was Baltimore last week? I don't even remember. But I think Arizona should be capable of beating the Patriots. Next, Carolina, led by P.J. Walker, heads to Minnesota. No Christian McCaffrey. Teddy Bridgewater is still out, I believe. So that's going to, Teddy Bridgewater is going to come out and be starter. I think that defense is going to be able to hold off that Minnesota team, who just lost to Dallas. Minnesota lost to Dallas. Now, there were a couple... there was like two flags that you can argue caused Minnesota to lose. Kirk Cousins got like hit in the head, and they didn't call anything on that. And he ended up fumbling the ball. There was no flag on that. And then, and then Harrison Smith, who in real time, if you watch the play in real time, the ball just slips past the receiver's hands, and Harrison Smith hits the receiver. And in slow motion, obviously, it looks like there's a couple seconds between the hit. They got flagged for that, which was technically a textbook hit. But again, you have to watch that in real time. If you watch it in slow motion, it looks like a late hit, but in real time, he's coming up, and he doesn't see that the ball is gone until it's basically there. So I mean, it's happened a lot. So those I think there might have been something else too or something, but those were the two I remember. But again, Andy Dalton ended up beating Minnesota. I think PJ Walker, again, he has good enough weapons to beat Minnesota. I don't know how good that run defense is. We will find out, or Packers will find out Week 15, which is a Saturday game. We got moved to a Saturday primetime game, which is exciting that we're on getting closer to Saturday games, so that's nice. But if they can stop Dalvin Cook, I mean, this game's over. You're making Kirk Cousins throw. That's a W. You make Kirk Cousins throw, that's a W right there. So I think Carolina's going to be able to come out and stop them. They did almost beat the Chiefs too. So I mean, this team is capable of being a contender in 2 or 3 years from now. They really are. I feel like they're missing a piece or two. They got to keep CMC healthy. But I think Teddy Bridgewater is, good enough to help make that team make a playoff run in a couple years from now. So next, Cleveland heads to Jacksonville. I don't even remember who Cleveland played last week. Wow, this is bad. Okay. Cleveland won last week. I don't remember who they played. Here, I can go back up to week 12. Hang on, let me go back. Philly. That's right. They played Philly. And then Jacksonville got demolished by the Steelers, who normally play down to the Jags. This should be an easy win for the Browns. That running game is dangerous. Baker Mayfield, I'm a little higher on Baker Mayfield than some people are. Really than a lot of people are. But Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt in that backfield is dangerous. Plus, you have Myles Garrett on the other side on defense. I mean, that team has some stars. They're a good team. If they had, again, if Baker was a little bit better, they'd be able to make a playoff run. But I think they're going to get to the wild card round and they're going to get bounced. But they're going to make it for the first time in 10 years? 9 years? I don't remember. It's been a while. It's been almost a decade, I believe, for the first time that the Browns have been in the playoffs. So this will be, a big thing. And then I believe it's been even longer since they've won a playoff game, I believe. If they, I think they are going to be able to make a push for the playoffs. But this should be an easy game against Jacksonville. They have a easier schedule. Obviously, you still have the Ravens and the Steelers coming up again, which is tough. That's a tough division to be in. Not as tough. I'm going to touch upon the Ravens here in a minute. But, I mean, just, they were, okay. They are a tougher division, but, I mean, Browns, again, aren't nowhere near Steelers level. Ravens are nowhere near where they were last year. Like, it's not... it's not the toughest division right now. I think that's probably the West. The NFC West is probably the toughest division right now. So, next, Tennessee heads to Indy. Oh, this is... I'll touch upon... Well, I can actually touch upon the Green Bay game right now. Indy in the second quarter locked down the Packers team. They scored 3 points on the last drive to go into OT, and then, they ended up causing a fumble, and, they were able to score the game-winning drive, or the game-winning field goal, Tennessee, who, by the way, I think Ravens and Tennessee is starting to become a rivalry, because at the beginning of the game, Tennessee went out onto the logo at Baltimore. Oops, something just fell. They did their, pre-game rituals, did all that, hyped each other up in the circle and whatnot on the logo. And, oh my God. I already forgot his name. I want to say Harbaugh. I don't know why. Harbaugh went out and it basically was going to fight the whole team. He went out there. There's clips of what they said on the NFL films or whatever. You can actually hear what he says and what they're talking about on that. But this is, it was nitty gritty. Obviously, this game went into OT again. King Henry took that game, 20-some yard run, and just scored and helped Tennessee win. But this is turning into a rivalry right here. Tennessee and Ravens are going to be a rivalry. They already starting to become a rivalry, and I think it's just going to get worse as the years go on. But I think this time Tennessee is going to come out. They're going to figure out that, last time didn't work. You got to use King Henry more. And when I say King Henry, I mean Derrick Henry. But people call him King Henry. I call him King Henry. You got to get him in the running game. He's, a monster. This dude is a literal monster. So I think you got to keep that Colts offense off the field. Yes, that defense is tough, but I think you have a better shot of keeping that defense, making them exhausted on the field with Henry, and you can win this game. I think Tennessee is going to figure that out, and I think they are going to beat the Colts this Sunday and tie up the series 1-1. It's been like 17 days or something or it will be 17 days on Sunday since they last met because they just met in week 10 also. So I think I picked Tennessee there too. Next, Giants head to Cincinnati. Oh my God. Cincinnati is not winning another game. Joe Burrow's done for the season. That O-line is killing Joe Burrow. He's just, I feel so bad for him. Giants, up and down. They're still way in contention for the playoffs. If they can win the game, or win a couple games, you probably got to win only 3 or 4 more games to take this division to NFC least. So I think Giants are going to come out and handle their business against Cincinnati. Again, Cincinnati is without Joe Burrow now. I think Joe Mixon is out on the COVID list. So they're Cincinnati's banged up. They got a terrible O-line. They really do. It's absolutely atrocious. So if they can, put some pieces together in the draft and trade for some good players, preferably O-line, and then you obviously got to fix that defense, the whole defensive side too. So I think, a couple of years, Joe Burrow's going to help them become a contender. But right now, they're just done. Their season's over with. I think they already have a top 5 draft pick. So Giants going to win this one. Probably not by a landslide, but probably by 10 points. So next, Chargers head to Buffalo. Chargers almost lost to the Jets. That's not okay. Buffalo's gonna take this. Buffalo's just a better team all around. That's all I gotta say. Almost losing to the Jets, that just qualifies you from everything. But then again, New England almost did too. So, but Chargers don't have a chance of making the playoffs really. So, next, Raiders head to Atlanta. Raiders, who almost beat the Chiefs and almost swept them, ended up losing because they left too much time on the clock, are going to beat Atlanta here. Atlanta just got dismantled by Taysom Hill. Then Baltimore heads to Pittsburgh. Baltimore has just not looked the same since last year. Since they lost to Tennessee in the AFC divisional round, they have not looked the same at all. They keep just slipping and falling. I would not be surprised if the Browns, tie 1-1 with them. Just the Ravens just do not look as good anymore as they did last year. It's just plain and simple as that. I would almost go as far to call them pretenders. Pittsburgh, on the other hand, 10-0. if they're probably going to sweep the Ravens here, probably going to go to 11-0. I have them winning that. So Pittsburgh, yeah. I wish this game was still tomorrow night, but what can you do? Then San Francisco heads to LA, or the LA Rams, SoFi Stadium, which, again, I love that stadium. I want to go see that stadium in person because that looks really sick. But Rams, who a couple weeks ago beat the Seahawks, and then last week, they beat the Bucks. That was just Monday, actually. That was 2 days ago. They just beat the Bucks. They should tie up the series with San Francisco. I don't know how healthy San Francisco is, but I think they should just tie up the series with San Francisco here. Then New Orleans heads to Denver. Denver, I don't know how they won. Drew Lock looked pretty good. And then New Orleans, obviously, Drew Brees is out for a minimum of 2 more weeks, maybe even longer still. We'll see when he comes back. I would not be surprised if Taysom Hill starts again. They might be saving Jameis Winston for down the line. But I think New Orleans should just win this. Even though it is in Mile High Stadium, I think they should be able to win this game. Then Kansas City heads to Tampa Bay. I don't know why so many good games are in Tampa Bay. I wish this one was in Kansas City, but it's in Tampa Bay. Tom Brady is going to get dismantled. That defense is going to get dismantled. Patrick Mahomes and that offense are going to take care of business. That defense is good enough to stop Tampa. I think this is going to be a bloodbath. I think Chiefs are going to score 35-42 points on Tampa. I don't know if Tampa's even going to get in the 30s. This is going to be a game where we're going to see how far down the hole Tom Brady has fallen. He has not looked good since beating the Packers about, 6 weeks ago? It's been that long. He has not looked that good since. So Kansas City should have this one in the bag. Next, Chicago heads to Green Bay. Chicago coming off a bye, and Packers coming off a terrible loss. I've already said my thoughts on the whole MVS situation. I've already said my thoughts on the whole Packers offense, Packers defense. If you have not seen those videos, go back and watch them. I just posted them Monday and Tuesday of this week, I believe it was. I'm hoping we look as good as we did in the first half of the Colts game. Bears have struggled on offense. I hope that's enough for our defense to play well. So I'm picking the Packers here. Both teams have struggles, but we will see who comes out on the top. Then Monday night, I'm gonna just kind of skim through this one. Seattle is gonna head to Philly. I think Seattle's gonna win this. If this is 17-9 again, that's gonna be crazy. But not a lot to say here. Philly is really bad, and the defense for Seattle is really bad. But I think Seattle wins this. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up. Like the video, share the video around, don't forget to subscribe, and we're out of here. Peace.